Before you scroll, look down the next time you walk outside. That random weed growing between the sidewalk crack, the one people spray, pull out, and throw away without thinking twice? Yeah, that plant has more protein than eggs, more omega-3s than some fish, and has been eaten for thousands of years. Sounds fake. Sounds like internet hype. But it's not. We've been trained to ignore the most useful plants on Earth. Superfoods come in shiny packages with big price tags, while this one grows for free, needs no farming, no fertilizers, no perfect soil, and still comes back stronger every time you try to get rid of it. Farmers fight it. Gardeners hate it. Lawn companies make money trying to kill it. But here's the twist. In many parts of the world, people don't destroy this plant. They eat it, not as a last resort survival food, not as some weird experiment, as a normal, everyday vegetable. Soups, salads, stews, even traditional medicine. Meanwhile, most people here walk past it daily without realizing they're stepping over one of the most nutrient-dense edible plants in nature. So how did we go from eating this plant for generations, to calling it a weed? That shift didn't happen because the plant changed. It happened because our food system changed. Grocery stores replaced backyard, lawns replaced edible landscape, and slowly, knowledge that used to be common sense just faded away. By the end of this video, you won't just know this plant, you'll start seeing it everywhere. And once you recognize it, you might start wondering why something this useful was never mentioned in school, never highlighted in stores, and never marketed like the expensive, health foods people pay for today. And trust me, this is only the beginning. So what exactly is this mystery plant people keep pulling out of their gardens like it committed a crime? It's called purslane. And once you know the name, you start noticing how strange its story really is. Purslane doesn't look special at first. It grows low to the ground, spreads in little clusters, and has thick, smooth leaves that almost look like tiny jade coins. The stems can be green or slightly reddish, and they feel a bit juicy when you snap them. Most people see it and think, ugh, weeds again. But in other parts of the world, someone sees the exact same plant and thinks, dinner. That's not an exaggeration. In countries around the Mediterranean, the Middle East, Asia, and parts of Latin America, purslane is sold in markets just like spinach or lettuce. It goes into fresh salads for a slightly lemony crunch. It's tossed into soups and stews where the leaves thicken the broth naturally. Some people even sauté it with garlic and olive oil like a side dish. Same plant. Totally different reputation. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Purslane is a survival expert. Drought? It handles it. Poor soil? No problem. Hot sun? It thrives. While delicate crops struggle without perfect care, purslane just keeps growing like it has something to prove. That resilience is one reason it spreads so easily, and why people label it a nuisance. But that toughness is also exactly why humans relied on it for so long. Before global supermarkets and year-round produce aisles, people valued plants that showed up reliably, without begging for attention. Purslane didn't need pampering. It just grew. And it fed people. So the real question isn't why this plant grows everywhere. The real question is, why did we stop seeing it as food? Here's the twist that makes purslane go from random backyard weed to wait. What? In about 10 seconds. This little ground-hugging plant contains more omega-3 fatty acids than most leafy vegetables. Yeah. The same omega-3s people buy in expensive capsules with labels like heart support and brain health. Purslane has them naturally. In leaf form. Growing for free between sidewalk cracks. Now, omega-3s are usually associated with fish like salmon. That's why you hear doctors and health articles constantly saying, eat more fatty fish. But plants with meaningful amounts of omega-3s? That list is very short. And purslane is sitting near the top of it. It also contains vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants. Not in magic, superhero, this cures everything levels, but in solid, real food amounts that nutrition scientists actually respect. So imagine looking at a plant that's nutrient-dense, edible, and grows without fertilizers, perfect soil, or daily watering, and deciding the official label should be weed. That label changed everything. Once a plant is classified as a weed, people stop asking what it's good for. They only ask how to get rid of it. Lawn care companies make money removing it. Garden guides teach you how to kill it. Stores sell chemicals designed specifically to wipe it out. And just like that, a traditional food quietly turns into a backyard enemy. But here's the part most people never hear: purslane didn't suddenly become useless. Our relationship with food changed. Industrial agriculture focused on uniform crops that are easy to ship, store, and sell at scale. Plants that grow low, spread unpredictably, or don't fit neatly into commercial farming systems. They get ignored, or worse, erased. So purslane didn't disappear because it lacked value. It disappeared because it didn't fit the modern food system. And once you see that pattern, you start wondering how many other weeds used to be dinner. Now, before you dismiss purslane as just a weed, let's talk taste, because this is where most people get curious. And honestly, it's not what you expect. The leaves have a slightly lemony, tangy flavor, with a subtle crunch that actually makes them perfect for salads, sandwiches, or even a quick sauté with garlic and olive oil. The stems are a little juicier, a bit more succulent, and if cooked lightly, they add a silky texture to soups or stews. And here's a fun fact: purslane leaves are crunchy enough that even picky eaters sometimes mistake them for microgreens. Kids might actually eat them without realizing they're weeds, and adults often just sprinkle them into their meals once they taste that fresh, slightly sour zing. But taste alone isn't why this plant has earned its spot on my list. It's the nutritional density. A single cup of purslane leaves contains more omega-3 fatty acids than a salmon fillet of the same weight, plus more antioxidants than spinach, and vitamin C that rivals oranges. Basically, it's a tiny green powerhouse that many people overlook completely. Now here's where the story gets a little scary. Because while this plant is safe to eat, easy to grow, and nutritious, in some areas authorities have treated it like an intruder. Local governments sometimes encourage removal of invasive weeds, and purslane, spreading rapidly across gardens and lawns, often lands on that list. People unknowingly destroy their own free superfood. Think about that: something that could boost your health for free, torn out and discarded. And this isn't just a modern problem. Historical records show that backyard gardens, once full of edible plants like purslane, gradually disappeared under commercial lawns and monoculture crops. Knowledge of these plants faded as weeds became the new standard. It's ironic: the more convenient and uniform our food system became, the more we lost access to the most resilient, nutritious plants. Here's the part that blows most people's minds: purslane isn't just high in protein and omega-3s, it's practically a miracle plant for survival. If the world went a week without grocery stores, this plant could feed you. No planting schedule. No special care. No greenhouse. It grows in cracks, edges of sidewalks, empty lots, even neglected gardens. And because it spreads so fast, it can literally take over a space and provide a continuous source of greens. Think about that for a second. While most modern vegetables need perfect conditions, sun, soil, water, fertilizer, purslane thrives under neglect. It's drought-tolerant, pest-resistant, and grows back stronger after being cut or pulled. Some survival experts even call it one of the most reliable wild foods in North America. People have been eating it for centuries, yet most home gardeners and urban dwellers treat it like an enemy. Now, don't get me wrong, purslane isn't just for survivalists. In regular kitchens, it's versatile. Toss it raw into salads for that slight tang. Sauté it lightly with garlic and olive oil for a warm side dish. Blend it into smoothies or soups for a nutritional boost without changing the flavor drastically. And yes, even the seeds are edible, packed with nutrients, and can be dried or ground for a flour substitute. The shocking part? Despite all of this, purslane is largely ignored by modern food culture. Supermarkets don't sell it. Restaurants rarely serve it. People don't even know it exists in their backyards. And there's a reason for that: it's cheap, it grows wild, and it competes with the profits of the modern food industry. So while everyone else is paying for kale, spinach, chia seeds, and fancy omega-3 supplements, purslane sits right under their noses, free, easy, and more nutritious than many expensive options. And here's the kicker: in the next part, I'm going to show you another plant that makes purslane look like a side dish. Now let's talk about the next wild plant, and this one makes purslane look like a minor player. Meet Moringa, often called the miracle tree. If purslane is a hidden backyard treasure, Moringa is a hidden nutritional goldmine that grows tall, fast, and practically takes care of itself. Its leaves, pods, and seeds are edible, packed with protein, vitamins A, C, and E, calcium, potassium, and iron, basically everything you'd expect from a multivitamin, naturally grown. Here's where it gets wild: in some parts of the world, Moringa is called the tree that fights malnutrition. Scientists and aid organizations have used it to feed communities with limited access to conventional foods because just a few leaves can provide a significant portion of daily nutrients. And yet, in the US, it's barely mentioned. It's not in supermarkets, not in wellness stores, not even in mainstream nutrition guides. Why? Because it grows fast, it spreads, and it doesn't need fertilizers or fancy irrigation. In short, it doesn't fit the modern industrial food system. Anything that grows too easily, too efficiently, and nourishes people without generating massive profit, tends to get ignored or overlooked. That's why so many incredible plants like Moringa, and purslane before it, are treated like novelties or weeds, instead of what they really are, life-giving foods. And Moringa isn't just nutritious. The taste is surprisingly mild when cooked, almost spinach-like, and its leaves can be dried into powder for smoothies, teas, or soups. The pods, sometimes called drumsticks, are tender and subtly sweet when cooked in stews. Seeds can even be pressed for oil, and Moringa oil has been used for centuries for skin and hair care. Seriously, it's like a Swiss Army knife of nutrition. Now imagine this: a plant so packed with nutrients, so versatile, that a single tree could provide meals, medicine, and more, and yet most people don't even know it exists. Now, hold on to your hats, because this next plant takes the idea of superfood hiding in plain sight to a whole new level. It's called sea buckthorn, and if you think purslane and Moringa were impressive, this one is next level. Native to Europe and Asia, it's a thorny shrub that grows along riverbanks and in harsh climates where almost nothing else survives, yes, even deserts and salty soils. Yet somehow, it thrives. And here's the kicker: its berries are literally packed with more vitamin C than oranges, plus omega-7 fatty acids, antioxidants, and a ton of other nutrients that science keeps studying because they actually work. These berries are bright orange, tiny, and tart, so potent that just a few can make a huge nutritional difference. Juice them, add them to smoothies, or make jams. People in parts of Asia have been using them for centuries for immunity, skin care, and general vitality. Meanwhile, in the US, they're almost completely unknown. You could grow a whole shrub in your backyard and your neighbors would probably just call it a thorn bush. Here's where it gets a little dramatic: the plant spreads aggressively. Birds eat the berries, disperse seeds, and suddenly the plant can take over fields and unused land if left unchecked. That's why in some regions, local authorities classify it as invasive, even though it's one of the healthiest plants you could cultivate. Irony, right? A plant that can save lives, improve health, and survive any condition is treated like a nuisance. But that's the story for many forgotten superfoods. The plants that don't fit neatly into industrial farming, that grow for free, and that give people nutrients without requiring profit-driven processes, those are the ones that quietly vanish from attention. So the lesson here? Look at what grows in plain sight. The next time you see a strange leaf or a weird berry shrub, don't just dismiss it. It might just be the plant that could completely change your diet.